Good morning and welcome to another episode of Xanadu Galleries Ask a Gallery Owner. I'm Jason Horsch, your host for these sessions, and it's great as always to be here with you on a Monday morning. Today's session is actually not exactly an Ask a Gallery Owner. I had an experience this last Friday that I thought I would talk about just a little bit and share some insights. I want to talk a little bit about the process of installing artwork in a client's home. What happened was that several months ago, we had some clients who bought several pieces of work, some sculptural pieces out of our gallery in Scottsdale for a condo that they're in the process of renovating in downtown Phoenix. And the artwork was delivered directly to them, but they were holding on to it until their renovations were closer to completion. And it so happened that in the interim, um, they had several other pieces from the gallery that they were also interested in. And so, as it came time for us to plan to do the installation for the sculptural pieces, they also wanted us to bring out some other artwork for them to see for this new space. So it worked out kind of perfectly. I'm back in Scottsdale from our Pine Top Gallery, and arrangements were made for me to come out and do the installation and also bring this other artwork out that they were interested in seeing. And so I had the opportunity to go out there this last Friday, and I'll just share quickly um, kind of some of the images from the installation. Um, and so what you can see here is on the right, we sell these little climbing figures by Ancesar Marin. And these were the pieces that they'd bought several months ago. And then on the left is the other artwork that they were interested in seeing. Their home is on the 11th floor of a high rise or a mid rise in downtown Phoenix. And they're going for a little bit more contemporary vibe. And so they thought these pieces would be perfect. Initially, they were looking at one at this size and then some smaller pieces, and then decided that the two pieces could be really cool together on this wall. And so I went out to their home Friday morning, brought in the two wall pieces, and then initially we got started hanging the climbing men, and that took about an hour and 15 minutes to kind of figure out placement and get the installation done. And then we put up the other two pieces to see how they look in the space. The clients fell in love with them. We were able to negotiate a sale, and everyone was thrilled. They were thrilled to have this new artwork in their home, and of course, we were thrilled to make the sale, both for ourselves and for the artists that we're representing. And it was just a very positive experience all the way around. And as certainly as a gallery owner, it turns out that, not only am I going to be involved in running a business and making sales, but I also am going to deal with a lot of logistics and installation of artwork. And over the course of the years, I've been involved in the installation of hundreds of pieces of artwork in clients' homes. And so it is incumbent upon me to have a good system in place to work with clients, to be able to go out to their home, figure out some sometimes challenging logistical questions about installation. You have to do almost some engineering sometimes to make sure that the artwork is installed in a secure, permanent fashion. And so there's a lot involved in this. And you, my dear viewer, are likely to have similar opportunities. Whether you are a gallery owner or an artist, there are going to be instances where you're going to sell a piece of artwork, and the client is, for whatever reason, is either incapable of making the installation themselves or is nervous about it. And so you're going to be in a better position to close that sale if you have a plan in place and the knowledge to help them through that installation process. Or, as we'll see a little bit later, if you can provide a resource for that installation. And we do all of those things. Certainly, we do some of our own installations. We also have some local resources that can help us with installations if it's something beyond the scope of what we're comfortable with, or if it's or we're too busy, it's in the middle of the season. We may hand that off to someone else. But whenever possible, I do appreciate the opportunity and enjoy going out to the client's home, getting to spend a little bit of time getting to know them better, building relationship and seeing some very unique and beautiful residences through this process. And so, with that in mind, if installation is something that's in your future, I thought we could just spend a few minutes talking about some of the ins and outs of the installation process. And so, just kind of thinking of the big picture, how an installation occurs, there are a few things to keep in mind. And the first would be the arrangements that you'll need to make in order to do an installation. You're in the process of making a sale, and the question comes up, hey, how do we get this piece of artwork delivered and installed? And so you're going to be setting an appointment. Oh, I misspelled appointment there. Forgive that. You'll be in the process of kind of figuring out, due to the scale of the work, where the client lives, what would be involved in getting that artwork installed in the client's home. Now, obviously, if the client is visiting from some distance, a personal delivery and installation may not be possible. But if they're in your local area and the timing works out, as I say, it can be a great opportunity to build relationship with your client. So we'll set an appointment. We then if the appointment that we've set is more than just a couple of days out, we like to make a reminder call a day or two ahead of the scheduled installation time. And then we'll make one more call as myself or my staff is getting ready to leave the gallery to go out to the client's residence or place of business, whatever the case may be. We'll make another call just to make sure. This is may seem like a little bit of overkill in the reminder department, but I have found through hard experience that sometimes schedules change. Something comes up, or the appointment is forgotten in the craziness of our clients' lives, and so it's just a good idea every step along the way to make sure everybody's on the same page. And so as I'm leaving the gallery, I will just make a quick call on my cell phone and let them know that I'm on my way, that Google Maps is telling me it's going to take 25 minutes to get there, so I should be there at 10:45, whatever the time is. And that's just a good confirmation, and lets them know what to anticipate. You're not going to catch them by surprise, and they can be ready for you when you get there. Um, and then also, obviously, as you're headed out to a client, you want to make sure you have all of their contact information, the accurate delivery and installation address, and a phone number that you can use to call them in case your navigation isn't quite as good at getting you there as you might wish it were, or you run into traffic. You want to be able to contact them en route if necessary. And then obviously, you're also going to need to have tools. And when it comes to installation tools, I like to follow the Boy Scout motto and be prepared, and have as many tools as I might possibly need in an installation with me. Now, again, as much as possible, it's a good idea to try and get a little bit of an idea of the scope of the installation during the sales process. Where is this piece going to be installed? What's the nature of the surface that we're installing to? Is it are we installing on drywall? Is it going on a stone fireplace, marble, plaster? What are we working with? And each of those different installation scenarios requires a potentially different set of tools and some different processes for getting the job done. And so you want to try and understand as much as you can ahead of time. The more complex it is, or the more questions we have about the installation, the more tools I'm likely to bring along just to make sure we have what we need. And so here's a quick look at my standard toolkit that's going to go out the door with me. I've got this sorting box from Stanley that has dividers in it, and it allows me to put a wide variety of different tools and supplies in one compact carrying case, so that I have, again, as I say, as much as I possibly can. Even if you've gotten an idea from the client, there can be things that crop up, and you just want to have everything that you can. And so you can kind of see this is a little bit of a mess. I mean, kind of things pile up in there. But over the years, I've just kind of learned, oh, I sure wish I would have had this or that tool or this or that hardware on the installation. And so they've started to accumulate. I'll go back to the gallery and add a few of whatever I discovered I needed to the box, so that in the future, when I'm out on installation and something comes up, I can almost always just open this box up and what I need is there. You can see there's a hammer and a level and a tape measure, and kind of some of the standard things you might think you would need: safety glasses, screwdrivers, both flathead and Phillips. I also take a drill, or an electric screwdriver with me, with an extra charged battery. And I will also often take a hammer drill, especially if they've let me know we're installing on a fireplace or tile or stone or something like that, or block. Having a hammer drill is going to save you a tremendous amount of work and effort if you've got to go into something hard. Again, your mileage may vary. You may discover that you've got an installation like that on some surface, and that may be a moment to say, I'm just not comfortable with that kind of. I'm worried it might cause damage to the surface, or run into issues. So you may decide that that's not in your wheelhouse to do an installation like that. Again, I've had enough experience over the years that I've learned that most surfaces, I can kind of handle the technical aspects of it and be able to handle an installation. So if I have those tools, it gives me the flexibility to be able to make those kinds of installations. I'm including here just a quick glance at some of the tools that we're going to bring along, as well as some of the hardware. I'm going to include a link in the description of this video. No matter where you're watching it, there should be a link there that's going to take you to an article that summarizes all of this and some of the other things we're talking about today, so that you can look over those. But you can see it's a pretty diverse list, from tape measures, hammers, levels, pliers, razor knives, rags to clean, cleaning solution, and extension cord. There have been installations on a number of occasions where I've gotten out with a drill and realized I didn't have an extension cord. The client didn't have one. And the next thing I know, I'm at the hardware store buying another extension cord. I have probably half a dozen extension cords that over the years have accumulated that way. And then picture hooks and pins, picture wire, drywall screws, concrete screws, mirror hooks, felt pads. Just kind of everything. I'd rather have it there with me and not need it than need it and not end up having it. And so, easier to just take it all out. And if you don't need it, you're no worse off. Now, when I get out to a client's home, and I've got all the tools and everything, the first thing I'm going to do is, ring the doorbell, knock on the front door. I'm usually not taking artwork up with me when I leave the car and go to the front door for the first time. Depends a little bit on the site location. If there's a lot of distance involved from the car to the door, sometimes I may grab a piece of art and take it with me. But if not, my preference is to knock on the front door, greet the client, they'll greet me, we'll shake hands. If my staff has made the sale and I haven't met the client yet, I just like to set them at ease and have a little conversation with them. And I also like to do a kind of site survey before I get too involved. I want to see what the obstacles are between me and the installation site. I want to get a sense of how we're installing, what's going to be involved. By the way, that reminds me, I forgot to list one important tool here, and that is a ladder. if you're installing at some height, and again, this is a good conversation to have ahead of time. How high am I going to be hanging this particular piece of artwork? Do you have a ladder that I can use, or do I need to bring one? And you kind of want to make sure that you've got arrangements in place for that as well, so you're ready. So all of that would be either pre-appointment, and then during the site installation, I'm kind of seeing what's involved. And then once I've got an idea of what we're going to be doing, then it's time to head back out to the car and start to bring the artwork in. Oh, I forgot to mention the other thing I like to do is compliment the client's home. What a gorgeous place you have. What an amazing view. You just want to kind of get off on the right foot. And believe me, in most cases, you're not going to be faking anything, because most of the homes that we're going into, where folks have discretionary income to purchase artwork, they will also have a sometimes spectacular home that you'll get the pleasure of seeing. And so I just, like I say, in an effort to set everybody at ease and to get the relationship going, I like to compliment the client's home. And then I'm going to bring in the artwork. I typically will be wearing white cotton gloves when I'm doing that. It's a little bit for show. I certainly want to avoid damaging the artwork or fingerprints or oils or those kinds of things. But also, I just want to convey to the client that this artwork is a valuable piece of artwork, and that I am providing the best service that I can, a kind of kid glove delivering installation. And that can have a very positive effect. And then I get to work hanging the artwork. Now, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on the hanging process itself. Again, I have a pretty extensive blog post that I will link to in the description of this video that talks about measuring and placing the artwork. And some of that, there are some technical aspects that you can plan for ahead and kind of get some ideas about measurements. And experience will kind of teach you a lot. And then you just kind of have to use your best judgment when it comes to helping them place the artwork. It's also pretty important. A lot of times your clients will feel a little bit nervous about the placement of the artwork. They know they like your art for the space in their home, but they're often going to be unsure of how high it should be placed. Should it be to the left? Should it be to the right? Um, and so even if as you come into the space, you're not 100% certain of placement, I would say that this is a good time to fake it until you are, fake it until you make it. You want to project confidence and experience and skill and knowledge in that installation process. And so instead of saying, oh my gosh, geez, I don't know how high we should hang this piece, or whether it should be to the left of that or in the center of the wall, I'm just not sure. What do you think? You don't want to do that, because that uncertainty on your part can lead to confusion and uncertainty on your client's part. And of course, over time, you'll become, as you do become more experienced, you'll feel less uncertainty. But even in the beginning, you want to project expertise. And so if I have some uncertainty, instead of saying, I'm not sure if it should go here or should go there, you might say, well, I see that we have potentially two different options here. We could hang it in the center of the space. I like to hang things pretty evenly. I'm usually hanging at the center of 60 inches. And I'll kind of explain a little bit of that. And then I'll show them that option, then show them the other. Do you have a preference? If they're wishy-washy about it, I would then give your own preference. I think that it would be stronger and look better in the center of this space. Let's hang it and see how it looks. And just having that little bit of confidence and projecting the appearance of knowledge can really help them feel more confident. And a lot of times there is not some kind of objective right way to hang a piece of art. It can be somewhat subjective. And so you've got to take your best shot at it and get it up and see how it looks. Maybe they'll then want to see it in a second position, and you can show them that. But I never want to over defer to the client. Whatever you think is best, I'm happy to do. I still want to give an opinion. And sometimes the client will say, no, actually, I end up preferring it over here. And that's fine. But it's just better to have to be a little bit opinionated in the installation process and project a little bit more confidence than you might actually naturally feel. And then, of course, you want to clean up if you've made a little bit of a mess, and especially if you're doing some drilling and using wall anchors, there's some potential for some dust. You want to wipe up and clean up as much as you can of that, and just leave things in as perfect an order as you can, so that the clients can just feel excitement as you leave their home. Um, Always try and get a photo of the artwork in place. If you can get a photo of the artwork and the clients, that's even better. Those are great photos to show on your website, social media. Not every client is going to be comfortable with that, and sometimes you show up and a client is in sweats and pretty casual, and it might not be appropriate to ask. But they'll almost always let you get a photo of the artwork in the space, and those photos can be very valuable, useful marketing tools for you on your website or social media. So be sure and try and get that photo. And then as I'm leaving, I love to congratulate the client on their new piece of artwork. I've also written a blog post about this, that my preference is to congratulate instead of thank. It changes the whole dynamic. And this is true whether you're selling out of a show or in a gallery, or if you're installing artwork in a client's home. It's something to celebrate that they've got a new piece of artwork in their space. And so I'm just going to show you quickly a few images of a very tiny fraction of the total installations that I've done over the years. Here's some evidence that I've gotten some photos of clients' home artwork installed in clients' homes. And it's so much fun. It gives you something interesting and new to break up your routine, to go out to a client's home and see a space. It gives you the opportunity to provide excellent service to them, and clients really appreciate that kind of personal touch. And so again, if I understand not everyone has the capacity or ability to do those kinds of installations, and sometimes an installation is going to require more help than you can do. You couldn't do it on your own. And so it's certainly not a bad thing to have a resource in place. We use a local interior design installation company. Most of what they do is delivery of furniture and furnishings to clients' homes, for design studios and furniture stores. But they also do art installations, and they do a wonderful job. And so if you can find someone locally who can do that, that's great too. Now, if you're doing that, you may have to answer the question, well, do I need to charge something? Because the company is going to charge you to handle the installation. And you can decide based on the scale of the sale that you've made, how long you've had a relationship with the customers. If you're going to pass that expense on to the customer, add it on to the sale price. If you're going to negotiate it into the sale, or if you're just going to cover it as an effort to provide superior service to your customer. Those are all decisions that you can kind of make in your business practices as you go along. But just a good idea to have a plan in place, and the resources in place, that when a client asks, I'd love to buy this piece of artwork, I would need help with the installation, that you don't have to hem and haw about it. You already know what you're going to be doing, and if you can handle it on your own, or if you need someone else to do it. So I hope this was a helpful conversation today as you think about that installation process. I would love to hear about any experiences that you have had installing artwork, um, positive or challenging. So you can leave those in the comments below this video. Also, if you have questions or subjects that you would like me to cover in these Monday sessions, you can email me at jason@xanadugallery.com, and just kind of share the nature of your question, any specific details that lead you to ask this question, or experiences that you've had. I'd love to hear about those. Also, if you haven't already, be sure and navigate over to my blog at red.blog.com. sign up for our email list so that you can get notices about new videos and other posts that I'm doing, all for free, that refer to and relate to the art business. Thanks for joining me for another session, and I'll look forward to seeing you next Monday.